Hello and welcome to Dreams of Wings, and welcome here to Bodmin on this beautiful December morning. It's just past Christmas and bit of wind, bit of clouds, but a fantastic day to take the brand new A2A Simulations AccuSim 2 Piper Comanche 250 for MSFS 2024 for a spin from here in Bodmin down to the Isles of Scilly. It's not a route I've done before, but I thought, why not? It's a lovely area of the country. The Isles of Scilly I've never flown into, so it'd be interesting to see what that looks like. And it's a good chance to take a nice quick little flight in the Comanche and see what's happened in 2024, because A2A have sprinkled in some extra magic, and this is a beautiful aeroplane to fly in the sim. Anyway, enough of my waffling, let's get cracking. Well, here we are in this lovely little cockpit. As you can see at the moment, there's not a huge obvious difference with the 2024 version, although you may well have noticed this little GPSS button that we have down here, so that's a new thing. If I just quickly pop the panel up here, so we've got a brand new aircraft here. You have the ability to select brand new, used, or auction. Used basically means you may have to just have a check. There may be some things that need sorting out with it. Auction means good luck to you. Lord knows what you're going to get. We've also got now wash the plane and clean the bugs. Those of you who have the Aerosoft in 2024, you will have seen that one before. But one of the little things that we have in 2024 is that aircraft can get dirty, and that gives you the ability to jump out there and wash and wax your aeroplane and make it all nice and sparkly. And we'll see when we get to the Isles of Scilly, we've probably got a bit of dirt build up on there. But otherwise, you've got the kind of settings that you had before, all your customizations. You can take your tip tanks off if you want. There you go, sans tip tanks, but I quite like them. I think they had a bit of a thing to it. Plus all these other things down here, the stabilator tips, the wing root fairing, all this kind of stuff you can add. And I've also added the soundproofing as well. So we have the luxury Comanche. And then over here you've got the usual sort of thing. We've got the wonderful engine analyzer, but down here you've got the ability to set the idle. So if you find that your engine is idling a little bit too low and you're kind of cutting out or whatever, then you can adjust that now. So that's a new thing. We'll do a quick engine inspection while we're here, and it's all looking good. So it should, because it's brand new. Otherwise I'd feel rather ripped off. Engine analyzer over here is not going to be doing anything because we're on the ground at the moment and not doing anything. If I move to the electrical systems, you can see that the battery has had a little bit of drain because I've been messing about with it, but otherwise battery's in good condition. And we'll ask the engineers just to have a look at the airframe, and we've got greens all around, so that is good there. Another new thing that I don't believe I've spoken to or about before is the tow bar function, which I'm pretty sure we had before. But what I'm going to quickly do is show you what that does. We're going to momentarily take the parking brake and the tie downs and the wheel chocks off, and then if we press the T button, we jump outside. And what we can do now is using so I'm going to use my yoke. I can now use that. If I pull the yoke towards me, I can drag it around, and you can see I can steer the aeroplane, and then I can push it back. There we go. Okay, so that works pretty nicely. Now I just need to jump back in. So to do that, if I bring up the tablet, press the T button, and then we pop back inside. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put the parking brakes, the wheel chocks, the tie downs, and the control locks back in so that we have those. The other thing that you've got now here is you've got a mag setting, so you can actually select the mag settings using this button here, and also you've got the start switch as well. And then the old favourites, we can put the aircraft up on jacks, we can use the engine heater if it's a really cold day. You've got some autopilot controls here, and some other additional things here. Something else that we have is if you want to use the Asobo G5s, you can swap those out as well. So we can have the ability to, it's not exactly glass cockpit, but it's some more modern avionics that you can have in there. I personally, one of the beautiful things about the Comanche for me is the old school analog instruments, except of course I am using the GTN-XI. So if we use this configuration, we've got no GPS. We can use the kind of stock GPSs that you get with Asobo, the 530 and the 430. If you have PMS, you can use the 750 and the 650. I've got TDS GTN-XI, so I can use those. And then also you've now got the option to use this RNAV panel here, the Narco RNAV. Now I've not used this yet. It's something that I will take a look at, but if you like doing the old school RNAV kind of stuff without the use of GPS, then you have the option to do that now. So there is a lot packed into this aeroplane for sure. If we've got the no GPS, you just get this really nice kind of standard panel. And actually for the flight today, that's what we're going to use. We're not going to use the GPS. We're going to be using a VOR to guide us, and the VOR at Land's End, and then that'll be nice and simple. Right, okay, we need to do a quick walk around, so I'm going to take that off there. Let's just move. Where can I move you? I'm going to move you. There we go. Move you. Just get the click spot. Sometimes using the head tracking, it's not always simple. Let's move you. Okay, that's not going to work. There we go, that's better. Okay, so if I quickly do a couple of things. So I want to put the master switch on, I want to put the pitot heat on, and we're going to check our lights. So quick jump outside, check our lights as it's brand new. Just want to make sure that that's all working. So we will hop into, and while I remember, actually let's put the flaps down as well. Just going to jump outside. So a quick walk around, which we can now do, of course, with the version that we were, or the 2020 version that we were using in 24. You had the old-fashioned walk around. I personally quite like this because it's a little bit more immersive. We can literally walk around the aeroplane and have a look, check all our lights. That's all good, and we've got our rotating beacon there. Now these lights at the back don't seem to be working, so let's jump back in, just check, have I missed anything? Feel like I might have done. So we've got all our lights on. That is all good. Master switch, I'm just going to turn those up a bit for the internal lights, but that shouldn't really make a difference. And let's jump at the back again. Okay, it could just be the light at the moment. The lighting isn't quite showing it. But what we can do, because this is AccuSim, is we can jump inside, and let's have a quick look at our, yeah, oh, head tracking went there. Quick look at all our circuit breakers, and they are all good. You can see you can pop them out, so that's looking all right. So maybe it's just the lighting at the moment. If I look here, we have got all our lights are on, so that's fine. Okay, so let's turn the lights off now. There we go. I'm going to open those while I remember. I'm going to now quickly turn off the master switch. We will pop outside, and we're going to run round to check that the pitot heat's working. Now, there we go. I always get the got to do that again. I always get those switches mixed up when I'm doing the walk around, the crouch switch and the change the kind of walk around view. Now you can see first mistake was I left the protective cover on, but if I touch that now, oh, come around. Okay. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. In the old way, if you touch that, then it would glow, or you would see a difference. But that doesn't seem to be doing anything there at the moment. Okay, check the stall warner while we're here. Jump back inside because I'm not convinced, and I like to check things. So let me think this through. Let's turn on. And then I'm going to jump back outside and let's just check that it wasn't because I did something wrong. Could just be a limitation in the sim at the moment, perhaps. Or maybe I broke it because I left the cover on. So let's get the right control. Let's get in there nice and close. No, okay. I wonder if... No. I was just looking to see if there's any kind of heat haze coming off it, because sometimes you get that effect, but there doesn't appear to be. So let's jump back inside. Let's turn the pitot heat and the master switch off, and we can have a quick look at our maintenance electrical system. That's still okay after I was messing about. Airframe, let's do a quick check just to make sure nothing's changed. No, that's all good. Okay. Right, let's jump outside again. Quick check that I have the parking brake on and the flaps are down, and then we can have a look at our other bits and bobs. So, start off with the flap. That's good and rigid. Aileron is most definitely connected. Let's come over to the fuel. Just get the right position. There we go. Have a look in there. Can't really see in this light to check. I know I haven't got a huge amount of fuel in my tip tank, but yeah, can't really see it in this light by the looks of it. So let's pop you back. Come round here. And let's see if I can close that door. There we go. Copilot just likes to sit and watch. Let's have a look in here. Okay. Right, well this is interesting. I don't appear to be seeing anything in there. Now I think if I walk up... Yep, can I? No, yep. Okay, so I can just see, it's very dark. I can just see my fuel in there. If I crouch down, there we go. I can just see it, but it is rather dark. I wonder if my Rex Atmos is doing something funny to it. We can check it on the other side. Right, quick look down here. Let's have a look at the tie down. We've got rid of that. Remove the chock, which we can just about see. Check the condition of the wheel. I love how this paint job is really worn. It certainly, even though it's a new aircraft with this this default, say default, it's one of quite a few you can have, but this livery has really got some life to it. Quick check round here. There's no squirrels in the engine and the propeller's looking good. Now we can check the engine oil, and again this is new, so it's going to be alright. AccuSim will it will simulate the actual look of the oil. Now I don't know if this is going to work because you don't normally look at it from this angle. Just about see it, but again with the light, the sun behind us there, it's quite difficult to tell. Trying to get a better angle on it, but I think I can see it. I wonder if I yeah, that's not going to work. I just tried something then. Okay, just a trick of the light. We'll close that. Let's remove you. Look round here. Quick check. That's working. That's moving around. Let's check this tip tank. Yeah, can't really see again. But what I'm going to do is this time round, let's have a look under here. Didn't do this on the other side, which we need to. Just check we've got no water in there. That's all good. And we'll come around here and do the same. Yeah, that's looking all right. Now I wonder. I was just looking to see if I could remove those somehow. Let's walk round here. That's all good. That's all good. And this time, okay. Let's have a look in here. What I'm going to do this time is just turn off my Atmos to see if that makes a difference. Because I wonder if that, lock off my head tracking, go to my Atmos, reset. No, it hasn't made much of a difference. So it is, I guess it's just with this new version, the fuel is slightly darker in there. So just a little bit harder to spot. So we'll turn our Atmos back on now. There we go, using the Andrew Bennett settings, which seem to work best for me. And let's face it, with all the twiddling of dials and turning of knobs and sliding of sliders, I really don't have a clue what I'm doing with that. Okay, so we've had a look at that. That's all good. Happy with those. Let's come back round here. I've had a look under here and that was okay. I'm going to come back round here now. We can check the fuel sump. Get down low enough. Whoop, if I can just remember, there's a click spot. No. There we go. That's all good. There we go. Close you. So, hoping that once we take off, these little things will disappear. Oh, I can see now. So those lights were on. It was just didn't look. You can see the difference. I was expecting something a little bit more shiny, but again, it's probably the light. That's all good. Happy round here. Look down here. Static ports clear. Not going to be taking any baggage, but we can just check there's no squirrels in there. And then we will jump back in. Okay, so let's have the head tracking back on. And we are good to go. So, checklist. Pre-flight complete, passengers briefed, don't mess about with any controls. Seatbelt secure, controls locks, I have removed them. Parking brake is set. Gear switch is down. Flaps are up, we can put those up now. Nice mechanical flap, none of you waiting for electronics to do anything. Radios are all off. Autopilot master, which is our switch there, is off. And avionics master is off, that's in the same position. All electrical switches are off. Hear the wind. Now we can put the rotating beacon on. It's just there. and we are set for the next phase, which is engine start. So fuel selectors, I've got them onto both tank. Mixture is rich, there it goes. Prop is fully forward. Carb heat is off. Where do we get to? Master switch can now go on. There we go, hear that lovely sound. Just cracking the throttle there, and fuel pump on. Looking here to check pressure. There it goes, fuel pressure building up nicely. Now we can have fuel pump off. We now prime for, going to give it 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to remove that for the time being just so I've got better visibility. We'll have the nav lights on because we're about to start whirring things around now. So we primed, we'll have mags to both, and every start in this aircraft is different, so let's see what we get this time. So quickly open that while I remember. Yeah, there we go, latch the door and clear prop. So you can really hear that the engine is alive. Very much. Oil pressure is good. Everything else is working fine. I'm just bringing us back. There we go, and we can come on to that next. So let's lock the primer. We can now have avionics master on. And I'll quickly show you. Go back into where is it? Into controls. That would be our G5s if you want them, so you can see what that looks like. But as I say, personally, I prefer the old school A2A. The quality of the artwork and everything just seems to be so much better. Anyway, let's lean on the mixture while we're on the ground. Let everything warm up a little bit. Let's get back to the checklist, and I'm just going to remove you for a moment. Got our radios on. Not going to be using the radios, but it's not for comms anyway. But we will be using our nav, of course, and the first thing I want to do is set the frequency for the Land's End VOR, so I'm going to do that while we're warming. So it's 114.2. So nav 1 114.2. It's funny using these because I'm so used to using the GTN, using these old school ones. There we go. So we got 114.2. We are not picking anything up here yet on our HSI. But hopefully once we get into the air we will. Just double checking that again. Land's End, VOR DME 114.2, and we have got 114.2 in the box. Marvellous. Okay, so we can close our little door. Another feature I should point out is the over here. Put our headphones on, you see how quieter that got? And then if I press this, we've got noise cancelling. You can't hear a thing. Incredible. Nice little feature. For the time being, I'm going to unplug the headphones so that you can hear the engine, because the engine is absolutely beautiful. By the way, down here we've got our obviously we've got our fuel gauges here for the wing tanks, but down here these are for your tip tanks, so you can check each one there. and we have got our green on the gear, so that's all nice to see. And I've locked that, so that's fine. I've leaned on here, so that's all good. We've got both engine or both fuel tanks selected. Let's bring up our checklist again. So taxi primer is locked, avionics master is on, ammeter we have checked, radios are on, transponder as required, we're not going to be using it, altimeter set. Right, so let's do this. So altimeter, where did I see? Oh, here we go. So it's 1032 is the QNH here, so we're going to dial that in. Quite high pressure today. There we go. 1032, heading indicator set. Now this is something you've got to be really careful of. Gyro drift, and it will bite you unless you check it. So you can see there's a difference between our whiskey compass and our compass here. So we need to adjust that. So Bosch, let's move that. We'll need to be checking that during the flight as well, because it can sometimes move. Just to give you a little bit of a shock, just for fun. There we go. So that is set, and our course, our VOR radial that we're going to be flying according to our route is, where have you gone? It's 242. So I'm going to, there we go. Just get that all nicely set up. So we have that in place, and let me lock off the head tracking again just so it's not too much of a distraction to you, and just double checking here we go. No, it's not going to give it to me. Okay, I'm just fiddling with my nav charts here, just to have a look at those. Okay, so we're going to be with the wind, we're going to be taking runway 09, so I need to keep an eye on that for the taxi. So we're ready to taxi now, and let's do a quick brake check. Yeah, brakes are working, so I'm just going to move you over here, and then we can do a run-up check as we get going. Okay, let's taxi. It is so refreshingly simple taxiing in a tricycle steerable nose wheel aircraft like this compared to what I've been doing before. It really is. So a bit of power as we go up the hill. Just going to cross this runway here and tootle around. Be careful, you can just actually see there the lighter shade of grass. And there is runway 09. So what I'm going to do before we enter the active is we're just going to swing around, and we can do a quick run up. So let's get the checklist back on. I'm holding on the brakes. Run up, position into wind, yeah, brakes hold. Fuel quantities check, they're good. Fuel selectors, desired tanks, they're on both. Mixture, I have got it as I've got it leaned at the moment, but I'm going to put it to fully rich now, and throttle to 2000 RPM. Looking good. Engine instruments, pressure, all this kind of stuff, all temperature is good. Cylinder head temperature is fine. Okay, let's do a quick mag check. Right. Left. All good. And then we are going to cycle the prop. Let that come back up again, then we'll reduce it to 1800. And it's just finding the right spot. There we go, and just check that it's steady. That shows that the governor's working nice and easy, so we'll put that back up, Now we can check the carb heat. Yeah, we can see instantly we've got a drop in RPM. So that's all good, and we can come back on the power now and calm everything down. Okay, let's have landing lights on, strobe light on because we're about to enter the active, pitot heat on, and quick check here, free and correct. Yeah, that's all good. Elevator trim neutral is quite important to check that because it has a habit of it's persistent. A2A AccuSim is persistent, so if you're not careful you can take off with the wrong trim set, so well worth checking that there. So trim is neutral, rudder trim not going to use, door is latched, flaps we're not using, so they are in the up position, fuel selectors are both on or both on. We can have the fuel pump on again. Mixture is fully rich, prop is fully forward, carb heat is off, engine gauges, everything is looking good. This is AccuSim, we need to be careful because things can go wrong. Pitot heat is on, strobes are on, and landing lights are on, and we are good to go. So quick look at the takeoff. Yep, rotated 85, position, yep, VY is 105, okay, all good. Right, we can now dispense with you, and we will now come back over here and line up. I can't describe just how nice it is to fly the Comanche. It's been doing a lot of tail dragger recently, tail dragger warbirds, and the Comanche is just so relaxing compared to having to keep your eye on that all the time. Okay, so we're lined up, we're good to go, we're on runway 09. We're going to have a little bit of a crosswind, but nothing that isn't hopefully going to be too much of an issue, and I just have to be very careful. We'll be doing a left turn out and I need to avoid some noise abatement areas, so we'll do that. So let's come on the power, release. Over the hump. Up she goes, she just breezes into the air, gear up. There's our farm that we need to avoid. Just coming back on the power a little bit, the RPM. Keeping to the left of the or to the right of the farm rather. Now we can initiate a left turn, and we have a couple of other noise abatement things that we need to be wary of. So we'll keep out of those. Around because I suddenly realised that was one of them. Don't want to go overhead that. There we go, and we are all good, and we can start continue our climb. Now, one of the beautiful things, let's have fuel pump and landing lights off. One of the beautiful things about this is that they give you plenty of useful information. So climb 24 and 24 on there, so we can come back on the RPM. Sorry, on the throttle a little bit, and RPM is kind of okay where it is there. Right, okay, so just quick check of the map. We are going where we should be going. I am just having a look at, we can see our VOR has picked up now, and we're about to intercept that, so just be mindful of that. We're not going to use autopilot. We'll talk about autopilot, but we're not going to be using it because this has got quite an interesting autopilot configuration in it. course there. Pretty damn close now onto that radial. Just doing a little bit of trimming. It's not a bad day at all. Visibility is a little hazy, especially with the Atmos add-on. Sorry, I'm concentrating and talking at the same time, which is never good. Right, let's pop this up again. And again, like I was saying, there's some really useful information on here. So we can see for cruise, we can cruise at 24 and 24. So again, we can leave that as it is and have a nice quick cruise. I'm just going to up the manifold pressure just a little bit there. All good. So watching the climb. Just adjusting the course a little bit. Kind of over-corrected there, I think. So, watch the climb. See how the visors come down a little bit. A neat little thing. Again, ACUSIM is all about making it feel alive, and it certainly does. Just going to descend a little bit. It's actually really nice to hand fly for a change. So mucking about doing outside views, I went off course a bit, but it's a good opportunity to hand fly. Aircraft like this, sometimes you don't want to be restricted to just flying a course. You want to fly around a little bit, but at least we can see how the VOR is working there, and we can see that it's tracking. And all is good. I'm just going to, if we now, there's different ways you can lean in this aircraft. Obviously you've got the EDM there. I'm just going to do it the old school way and just come back and look at the EGT gauge. But I will just, we're not particularly high, but just going to lean that back a little bit. Trim again, always trimming. We've climbed to 5,000 feet now. I was going to stay at 4, and I probably should have done because of this cloud. So let's have the carb heat on, and I'm going to descend through the cloud back to 4. The reason I put the carb heat on is because if I got our engine analyzer here, if I put the carb heat off, probably won't do it now, but if we look at this portion here of the engine gauge, we might see some carb icing start to build up. If the conditions are right. No, nothing happening there, that's absolutely fine. But as a precaution I would have just done that, because the Comanche is prone to carb icing. So just something we have to be wary of. Okay, heading back on course again. Perranporth up ahead. I'm I'm actually going to go down to 3. I think we'll just get below this cloud as much as we can. And then we not quite so restricted. While I'm doing that, let's have a quick look at, I was talking about the autopilots. So we have here a very simple autopilot. It's an old school autopilot. There is an excellent video from A2A Simulations on how the autopilot works. If you want a really good, in-depth, informative tutorial on autopilots, head over to that. All I'm going to do is just quickly talk about it here, but we've got the STEC autopilot here. It works on rates rather than attitude, so it's, for example, if you put a turn in, it's going to just do I think it's a rate 1 turn, but it's not like a modern autopilot where it's going to fly the aircraft all around the sky for you. So what you would have to do before, for example, if you had a GPS flight plan loaded in, what you had to do before is to, I'm going to go down to 2,000 feet. Let's rich in the mixture a little bit now that we're descending. So yes, you had to put it onto high track, and if you were following a magenta line, you had to manually fly any tight turns because it just couldn't cope with it, because it was just doing a standard turn. I'm just going to do a standard turn. I don't care how sharp this bend is, and this is what we're going to do, and tough. So you had to hand fly the turn. What they've done now with 2024 is they have built in a similar system to what we have in the Aerostar, which is that GPSS that I was talking about earlier. So let's just get below this cloud. So what we could do at the moment is, if I turn on the autopilot master, it's just going to do a few checks. And now we are in a position where we are green, ready to go, so that's all good. Now if I turn the heading bug, and if I find, here we go, so if I turn the heading bug to there, just quickly check that. I'm going to put we haven't switched it on yet, that's why. Bear with me. Doing it kind of in the wrong order. So if I now put it onto heading mode, there we go. I was pressing the wrong button. If we're in stabilize mode, you can use that button there to rotate the bank, and then it will just maintain that bank, and that's kind of what I was doing there. I should have pressed it to get us into heading mode, which is where we are now. So the autopilot is now in heading mode, and if I now press Alt, we can see the Alt has turned blue and the aircraft is going to maintain an altitude. So now I can take my hands off and talk a little bit more about what we need to do. You heard a beep, you saw a light come on here. Let's see if it does it again. That was just telling me I needed to trim it, because again, it's a basic autopilot, we need to help it along. And so with altitude, it's an altitude hold, but sometimes you have to adjust the trim a little bit. And you can see here that if I turn my heading bug, the aircraft will turn. So that's absolutely fine. If I now turn on a GPS, there we go. So let's get controls, and if I now turn on my GTNXIs, and if I was to now, let's say, nearest airport, let's see if I can pull it up. Well, we're going to be St Mary's, so this would be, say we were going to go direct to St Mary's, which we're not, but if we were going to, you can see that we've got that all mapped up, and we're going to go direct. Yep, activate. and you can see now that we've got GPS set in our box here. But you can see from this switch over here that we're in heading mode, which is absolutely fine. So what we can now do is, with the new system, is to actually, it's a box, it's a GPSS, which is kind of like a, think of it as a translator. It's a translator between our modern avionics here with the Garmin and our old school STEC autopilot, which is linked to our turn coordinator. That's where it's getting its information from, rather than any kind of sophisticated route information. But using the GPSS, that will enable us to do it. So what we need to do is put this into GPSS mode, and then that is going to translate our route into the heading mode onto here. So if I leave that, we should find that that all tracks in nicely. And I've got my hands off. You can see it's trying to intercept the GPS route, and if we had any sharp turns coming up, it would follow it. So it's kind of like a modern cheat way of following a magenta line without you having to do anything, if that's what you wanted to do. But that's not what we're going to do. So we'll put that back onto heading mode, and I'm now going to no GPS, just check 1142 is still set in there. That's absolutely fine, happy with that. And now I can put the autopilot onto track mode, and that is now the old school way that we can track our VOR. So if I leave that there now, then it will intercept the VOR radial, and because our angle on the radial is very shallow, it's going to have no problem at all picking that up. If we were approaching it at like a 90-degree angle, then that's when we would have a problem. So it's getting a little bit murky now, as you can see. We're approaching the Land's End VOR. When we leave the Land's End VOR, then we're going to be flying, what is it, 243 away from it. So I'm just going to, just for fun, we'll come over it. I'm going to put us back onto heading mode for the time being. Coming over the top. Any minute. Just using the heading bug just to turn us back on ever so slightly. We'll see the instrument change. It should go for, instead of to, it should say from, as we get over the top. There we go, that switch has happened, and now if I turn it on to 243, right about there, that's our new heading. And I'm going to do the same here. There we go, 243. Okay, so now we are set up to head to the Scilly Isles. So what I'm going to do now, because I said I wasn't going to fly autopilot, I'm going to, we will have disengaged that, and we will have the autopilot disengaged, and now I can hand fly it over the sea. Look at that. Land's End just over there. Let's have a quick look at Land's End. For heaven's sake, we're in a Comanche, we're not just going to fly A to B, we're going to actually do some sightseeing. See what it looks like. There's the lighthouse. Very interested to see, I've got the real VFR Scilly Isles pack that I installed this morning. So very interested to see what that looks like. because you never know. Hopefully it will all work. But the Comanche is beautiful. It was A2A that got me into taking simming seriously. I always had flight sims, but never did a huge amount with them. And then some years ago, I discovered A2A in FSX, and it totally changed how I viewed it. It was the first time I felt I was flying something that reminded me of when I was doing flying training many years ago. So I kind of got hooked into A2A then, and then of course went through P3D, all the warbirds. There's stacks of stuff on the channel dating back to then. There's the Land's End Lighthouse down there. Land a helicopter on that. And yeah, and then of course we moved into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and we had the Comanche for that. And now in 24 we've got the Aerostar and the Comanche, both now native versions, which is really good. And I, for one, it's a huge talking point always, but I, for one, cannot wait to see what they do next. Really hoping for warbirds, their T6 Texan, their P51D, just unsurpassed. And let's not forget, A2A make flight simulators for the military and for government organisations and commercial organisations, so they know what they're doing. And it's very much quality over quantity with them. They're not going to churn something out every 5 minutes just to make a buck. They will put hours of work into it. And I'm sure, as you know, Scott, the owner of A2A, owns a Comanche and owns an Aerostar. So they build these things with reference to their real world experience. They're not imagining or looking at manuals and building it from there. Scott knows how these things fly in the real world, and that's how they are adapted. Okay, so I'm just flying back now to intercept our radial, flying away from Land's End, as I said. So we'll just come back onto that. Just easing the turn a little bit. Let's have some power back on now. So again, 24. Engine sounds fantastic, which is always reassuring when you're over water. And it shouldn't be too long before we see the Scilly Isles. It's not a huge amount of distance between the two, but it looked like really interesting scenery, interesting for doing GA hops like this, and also I think probably flying helicopters as well. That could be quite interesting. Anyway, an opportune moment to say, if you're still watching, we do have a Discord. The link to it is down below, so come along and say hello. Really good community of people into warbirds, helicopters, GA aircraft, and you are more than welcome to come along and say hello. So we are climbing to 2,000 feet, but I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to drop us back down just to get underneath this cloud. We're over the sea now, so we can afford to be a little bit lower. Checking my radial. I reckon maybe not. Just keep that descent in. There we go. Coming out to the bottom of it now. Probably just go for 1200, I think. 1200 will do it. Still on course. Watching the descent. Keep it going. Just busted it there because I was looking at other things. Let's come back on the power. So there we have Land Ahoy, the Scilly Isles. So we'll have a quick look around those, I think. It'd be rude not to. Oh, something else I should say. How rude of me to forget. We can also... There they are. Don't look so down. Let's have some passengers in the back. So used to flying just on my own in these things, I sometimes forget that you can add the passengers in the back. But we now have the proper animated. There you go, animated passengers, which just adds to a bit of the immersion. That was interesting. I don't know if you noticed. I'm sure some of the more I guess the armchair flight instructors would have noticed that the weight in the back pushed the nose up a little bit. It altered our C of G and we started climbing. So just having to adjust that, because of course the trim setting that we had before is no use to us now. Looks like there's some lovely beaches around here anyway. So I'm going to do a quick check now, which we can do, because again you get so much useful information in this. Clicked the wrong thing, come back here, there we go. If we go back to home, flight information, you can see the what we're seeing in the wind at the moment. So we've got 23 knots from, it's moving, it's coming around to 92, 90, 89. So it gives you a good idea of what you're going to get. So for us, we're going to have we're going to do 09. So we're going to have something like it might not be quite as high as 23 knots, but we're definitely going to have that. And another thing you can see here, look at that, 3 degrees. What have I done? I haven't turned your heating on, so we need to do that. So let's have the cabin heat on. No, wrong click spot. Can we have a quick look outside? Don't need the defroster. I'm going to pull that on. No, we'll leave that there. Pull that on a little bit, and if I bring that back up, there you can see the temperature's rising now. You have to think of everything. Look at that. That's some really nice detailed scenery. I don't know how much of that is from the VFR, real VFR scenery pack, and how much of it is just default, but very nice. On this sunny December day. Looks like we've got some old forts down there. Harbour. They're lovely, the old church as well. Of course this would have been quite a defensive position back in the day. Everyone expecting invasion and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so let's start thinking about landing. So we're quite a there's the lighthouse over there, quite a distance out, so we can come back round. going to come back on the power. A nice gentle descent. Right, let's have the fuel pump on. Landing lights on. Not visual with the runway yet. Actually just flown well past it by the looks of it. There it is. So we've got the gear horn going off because I've chopped the throttle right back. Just reducing the speed. So let's get our, come on, checklist. Approach, autopilot is off, fuel pump is on, yep, mixture's rich, yep, and not just yet for that. Really need to lose some speed. Gear down. Get rid of that annoying chiming. Trim, trim, trim. Yeah, I'm liking the look of the Scilly Isles. Interesting little place to fly into. I've just remembered there's quite a pronounced hump in the runway here as well. So just need to be ready for that. Let's have some flappage. In a tad low. There we go. Slightly better position now. You can actually feel, you really feel everything in this aircraft, and I can feel that headwind. So some more flap. A little high now. A little fast. Let's get some trim. Reducing power to increase our rate of descent. Very odd hump in the runway makes the whole angle look very weird. This is really interesting. Wow. Wow, that's odd. That is odd. Goodness gracious. That is crazy. Look at that. So we're kind of landing on the slope of a hill. I have no idea if that's what it's like to kill the flaps, get rid of that lift. I've no idea if that's what it's like in real life, but wow! That's amazing. Just turn off here. I think unfortunately we've just gone to where the helicopter goes. There you go. I can't help it. I am so ingrained in helicopters that I've gone straight to the helipad. So let's just turn around. We'll backtrack on the runway. That was really interesting. Isn't it funny how you have an awareness of what a runway should look like on approach, and then you suddenly come in like that, where you've got that enormous. Let me just check the map so we go to the right place this time. I was so carried away with that, slope that we we went a bit too far. But yeah, it's yeah. So you kind of think you know what you're looking at, and then you suddenly think, oh, okay, so I'm landing on a big incline. Very interesting. Steady on the brakes there, boy. Oh, let's lean the mixture. And we will pull in. Oh, it looks like this is our slot here. Let's pull in here. There we go. Let's have the parking brake on. Didn't mean to do that. Got to be really careful with the click spots. That if you click too far right, then you click on the bungees. Right, so quick check after landing. Flaps are up, which they are. Strobes are off. Should have done that when we exited the active. Naughty boy. Fuel pump we can have off. Mixture leaned. I remember to do that. What a miracle. Let's neutral. Yeah, neutral on the trim there, just for next time. Shut down. Parking brake set. Yeah, let's have radios off. And let's have avionics off, autopilot off. Doopy-doopy-doo. That's all good. Master switch off. Oh, let's have. No, we'll leave the nav lights rotating beacon on because we're using that pitot heat off. Right, master switch off. Now we close the throttle, idle cut off, and mags off. There we go. How beautiful. So there you have it. Here we are in the Isles of Scilly. That was a nice flight. It was interesting for me. Flights like this for me are always about learning, and always learn a few new things on the way and how little things work and what the quirks are and that kind of thing. And that's what we have here. But it's a lovely aircraft to fly. It's really alive. It's hands down has been my favourite single engine GA aircraft to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and 24. And now that we have this native version, even better. Honed to the 24 capabilities, and it's just brilliant. It's such great fun, isn't it? Isn't it? You lot in the back, you enjoyed it. There you go. He enjoyed it. Anyway, thank you ever so much for coming along on the flight. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you on the channel again soon. Take care now. Bye bye.